I'm Kristen Miller, President and CEO of the Santa Barbara South Coast Chamber of Commerce. Thank you all for joining us today for the Santa Barbara State of the City. I'm honored to get to host this, our second in the series of State of the City presentations by our newly merged Chamber of Commerce. Earlier this year, before, during, and after the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic and resulting economic disaster, the three chambers of commerce on the South Coast came together and united our boards of directors and staff to create an 1,100-member-strong organization to amplify the voice of business, represent business to government, create new economic development initiatives, communicate relentlessly, and promote the need for economic recovery during a time of crisis. Each chamber in previous years brought together business and government to give an annual report that highlighted the local economy and municipal goals in a State of the City event. This year, our State of the City looks a bit different. We miss seeing all of your smiling faces in person. However, the information presented by our local leaders today is more vital than ever to inform our business and community members on significant information about our community and government, and to provide a comprehensive update on the ever-changing business landscape. We're proud to be the leading business support organization providing timely, relevant, and trustworthy information from our elected officials and city leadership teams. Santa Barbara is a unique community, a cherished coastal destination with a vibrant business community, steeped in rich history, businesses to look to future innovation, entrepreneurship, and our growing tech hub. Innovative businesses are providing meaningful jobs, although certainly this year has been more challenging. The Chamber works together with the City of Santa Barbara to enhance the local economy and jobs, and I look forward to hearing from our local guest speakers today. A heartfelt thank you to our generous sponsors who have made this production possible. Thank you to our presenting sponsor, Montecito Bank and Trust. Our corporate sponsors are American Riviera Bank, Pacific Premier Bank, and Southern California Edison. And help me in thanking our other sponsors, including Atlantic Aviation, Brown & Brown Insurance, Brownstein Hyatt Farber Schreck, Chevron, Community West Bank, Courtyard by Marriott, Cox, ExxonMobil, Fauver Large Archibald and Spray, FLIR Systems, Goleta Valley Cottage Hospital, LinkedIn, Marburg Industries, Marriott Residence Inn, Plains All-American Pipeline, Sansom Clinic, Santa Barbara City College Foundation, Signature Flight Support, Spherion, the Tobes Group, UCLA Health, UC Santa Barbara, and Hollister Village. We also have supporting sponsors that include Decker's Brands, Frank Schipper Construction, Latitude 34 Technologies, and Newshawk. We want to thank our partners at Lure Films for filming today's presentation. And lastly, we're so grateful to Geoff Green and Santa Barbara City College for providing the stunning location for today's event. Geoff has been the CEO of the Santa Barbara City College Foundation for the last 6 years, where he's led the effort to establish the SBCC Promise and many other impressive programs. He is also co-chair of the Chamber of Commerce. Please join me in welcoming Geoff Green.
Thank you so much, Kristen. Good morning. My name is Geoff Green. I'm the CEO of the Santa Barbara City College Foundation and the co-chairman of the board for the South Coast Chamber. I want to welcome you all to SBCC, our community's college for more than a century. This is, of course, a world-class institution and an educational institution that's recognized time and time again as being number one in the nation, but it serves many purposes in our community, and that's why we're so happy to be connected to the Chamber and the broader community as well. For many people, this is a first choice and a first stop on their way to their higher educational journey, wherever that might take them. For others, it's a place of a second chance or a reinvention or a new start. And still for others, this is a place for lifelong learning, continual education, and enrichment. Regardless of what purpose someone who comes to our door or why they become a part of the SBCC community, we welcome them and we're here. And as I said, for over a century in our community. This particular crisis really shines a light on the value of an institution like this. And it also shines a light on the interdependence of all of our various sectors. So, of course, I'm here as someone who spent most of his life in the nonprofit business sector. But this is really about how we've come together as a for-profit and nonprofit, public and private sector, and all those partnerships that have been built through the crisis that we currently find ourselves in. As I'm fond of saying, a nonprofit is a business. It is not a business model, it's a tax status. And so when you say nonprofit, you can mean anything from our health system to your local church, to the Boys and Girls Club, you name it. And in our nonprofit sector, like our for-profit business sector, is really a part of the bedrock of this community that we have here in Santa Barbara. But this crisis also shines a light on just how many in our community are, as we've heard time and time again, just one paycheck away from really financial distress, whether it's a missed rent payment or something else. And this is true of our families in our community, but it's also true of our businesses, our small businesses in particular, both for-profit and nonprofit. And for more than 7 months now, we've been dealing with something that is truly, and this is a word that is overused, we know it, truly unprecedented. We've seen a massive pandemic and a public health crisis that spurred an economic shutdown and an economic crisis. And now we are 7 months, a little more than that, into a partial reopening and recovery. And that's why it's so important that we work together and rebuild the economic health of this region. And that's, of course, what the Chamber is committed to doing. And our newly merged Chamber, this has been an exciting year to have all of our South Coast communities come together. Very pleased, like many of us, to see just how well our community has pulled together in yet another crisis. Unfortunately, this is something that we've gotten very good at in Santa Barbara. But once again, new partnerships have emerged. New people are working together, new ideas are being tried, new experiments are being launched, and all of that speaks to the vibrance of our community. I'm really proud of our city. I'm proud of our community. I'm proud of my colleagues in the Chamber and beyond. And today we are really happy to be sharing with you a little bit about our city from some of our city's top leadership. So now it is my pleasure to introduce to you Stephanie Armstrong, who's been my colleague for a number of years now, first as the interim executive director of the Santa Barbara Chamber, and now in her new role as chief marketing officer with the South Coast Chamber. Please help me welcome Stephanie Armstrong to the podium.
Thank you, Geoff, and thank you again to Santa Barbara City College for hosting us today. It is the perfect backdrop for this presentation. I'm Stephanie Armstrong, your Chief Marketing Officer for the Santa Barbara South Coast Chamber of Commerce. I most recently served as the Interim Executive Director for the Santa Barbara Chamber, and I'm so excited for our merger and the growth of our team, and most importantly, being a unified voice for business. I'm delighted to be here with my team and our partners at the City of Santa Barbara to put on our annual State of the City event in a unique way. Our annual State of the City was previously scheduled for April 30th. However, this year we have had to pivot to a virtual presentation due to the limit on gatherings and social distancing mandates. It has been a challenging 8 months with the pandemic. However, the new Santa Barbara South Coast Chamber is proud to be the leading business support organization providing timely, relevant, and trustworthy information from our elected officials and city leadership teams. Small business is the backbone of the Santa Barbara community, and we are so proud of how resilient our business community has been. As you all know, we couldn't do any of this great chamber work without the support of our sponsors. We are extremely thankful for the continued and growing support from our business community. It is my pleasure to introduce our presenting sponsor, Montecito Bank and Trust. Please join me in welcoming Janet Garufis, Chairman and CEO of Montecito Bank and Trust.
Good morning. My name is Janet Garufis, and it is my privilege to serve as the Chairman and CEO of Montecito Bank and Trust. Thank you, Stephanie, and thank you to everybody here today. It is a pleasure to be in this beautiful location. Geoff Green never lets us down. He always finds the perfect venue. So thanks, Geoff. As the title sponsor of State of the City, it's my honor to speak with you today. As a member of the business community, we value the open communication and information provided by the city and the Chamber's continued leadership in hosting this annual forum. I'd like to take a moment to congratulate the leadership of the Carpinteria, Santa Barbara, and Goleta Chambers of Commerce on their vision in recognizing that together, as the Santa Barbara South Coast Chamber, they could be the one strong, united voice that could represent all regional businesses. And now, as we all face unprecedented challenge, Their advocacy, support, and representation is more important than ever. Thank you for supporting our chamber. Today is not a typical State of the City day. We never certainly imagined that we would be sharing this occasion virtually because of a global pandemic, but here we are in a world that's changed. Normally, I'd get to take a few minutes to tell you about us and our own state of the bank. I would tell you about how our bank this year is celebrating 45 years in business and that we opened our new permanent location on the Mesa and that we've now received 20 Best Bank Awards. But this year's different. And our world and our community has been forever changed. As we look around our community at our friends and our neighbors, there is no one who has been untouched by this most current disaster. We certainly know how to do disaster in our communities. We've had plenty of experience in recent years, and we've proven our resilience and our perseverance. And now we are faced with what is perhaps the greatest economic challenge of our generation. The lasting effects of the loss of business, the loss of wages, the loss of tourism, and the impact on the mental health of our community is yet unknown. The choices we make now to support our community members and our local businesses from the impacts of this pandemic are an important opportunity to make lasting change for the future of our city of Santa Barbara. This is a defining moment. And it certainly has been a defining moment for Montecito Bank and Trust and all of our associates. As a community bank, it's our job to know and respond to the needs of our community. And when the unexpected happens, we take our role very seriously. When COVID-19 reached our community, we wanted to do whatever we could to provide support and to make a lasting impact. The first thing we did was to take care of each other, providing a safe and social distance work environment with nearly 50% of our workforce working remotely. Because we know that if we take care of our Montecito Bank and Trust family, they will take care of our community. We identified local nonprofits who were on the front lines of COVID response and provided immediate financial support. In fact, by the end of this year, Montecito Bank and Trust will have donated more than $1.5 million to local nonprofits who have become a safety net to our communities during this most critical time. I'm extraordinarily proud that our team mobilized to process and fund more than $205 million in Paycheck Protection Program loans, that's the PPP program, to local nonprofits and businesses. That PPP funding went to over 1,800 businesses and organizations, saving nearly 22,000 jobs in Santa Barbara and Ventura counties. There is no community banking rule book for how we should respond when the unthinkable happens. It's hard to know how anyone will react in times of disaster, especially when the future is still so uncertain. But I've been incredibly proud of our team and how they've dedicated themselves to serving our clients and to their community. And whether face-to-face in branches or at home remotely, each of our associates has maneuvered through their own personal pandemic response, but never missed a beat in delivering on our mission. Their client relationships matter to them. They are advocates for their communities. They have been present in a way that is at the core of what community banking is all about. I'm certain that a lot of you, business owners and leaders, have seen this same kind of dedication and camaraderie to get the job done in your own businesses. We are proud to work alongside you and to do what we need to do for our communities and for each other. There are still a lot of unknowns. It may be a long time until we really understand all the impacts of this pandemic. But what I do know is that each of us has a responsibility to do what we can. My friend and mentor, Michael Tobes, was fond of saying, everybody can do something. During this time, we are all experiencing our own unique set of circumstances, but what we all have in common is a renewed clarity of what really matters to each of us. The next step is finding out how we use what matters as our motivation to make a lasting impact on the community we call home. So I ask that each of you consider, what is your something? Time, treasure, or talent, each of us has something to give, whether it's lending that helping hand, offering a necessary business skill, or writing a check. And if there is ever an opportunity to come together, now is the time. For Montecito Bank and Trust, our something is always clear. Our mission is simply to make the communities we serve better places to live and work. And for 45 years, we've been serving the Central Coast, living our community bank mission, and standing as testimony that behind every great community is a great bank. Michael Tobe's legacy of community support and his vision of corporate philanthropy is at the foundation of our bank, and because of that, we will be here with you every step of the way. This is certainly one of the greatest challenges of our time, but our communities will prevail. We know we can do this together. Take care of yourselves, your families, and your neighbors. Stay safe and healthy. Let's all remember that kindness matters, and if you need us, please come see us. We're here to help. Thank you.
The Chamber is so grateful to be working closely with the City of Santa Barbara since the onset of the pandemic and subsequent economic crisis. City support for the Visitor Center has been instrumental to our messaging to visitors, and a new investment from the city for an economic development program at the Chamber was implemented quickly to help us help business. Leading these and other efforts at the city is our Mayor, Kathy Murillo. It is my pleasure to introduce Madam Mayor.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Santa Barbara's State of the City address. I wish we could be together in person, but today's public health guidelines shape this new format. I want to extend heartfelt gratitude to Santa Barbara Community College for hosting us on their beautiful campus. Additionally, I'd like to thank the Santa Barbara South Coast Chamber of Commerce for facilitating this event. I appreciate everyone's hard work to make this event happen. I am joined today by City Administrator Paul Casey and the city's Economic Development Manager, Jason Harris. I would also like to recognize my colleagues on the Santa Barbara City Council. Their collaboration and combined contribution to the city make us uniquely Santa Barbara. Together, we will move this community forward and address the pressing challenges ahead. First, serving as Mayor Pro Tem, District 4 Councilmember Kristen Snedden, District 1 Councilmember Alejandro Gutierrez, District 2 Councilmember Mike Jordan, District 3 Councilmember Oscar Gutierrez, District 5 Councilmember Eric Friedman, and District 6 Councilmember Megan Harmon. Each of us has faced significant challenges because of the worldwide pandemic. To say that this has been a challenging year does not give sufficient recognition to the global impact that COVID-19 has caused. Locally, some have lost a loved one or have a family member who has been sickened by the virus. Many have lost their jobs or owned a business that's suffered catastrophically. For those businesses that have had to close or those that are struggling to reopen and recover, my heart goes out to each and every one of you. We will continue to keep our residents and business needs in focus. The city has provided additional funding for social services through a partnership with United Way. We have entered into new partnerships with the Santa Barbara Foundation to offer small business grants. We thank all of our partner organizations for their support and efforts. We will overcome these challenges because Santa Barbara is resilient. This is a city of determined and hardworking people, and we have recovered from past disasters. We will recover from this one better, stronger, and united. On March 19th, when Governor Newsom issued the stay-at-home order and ordered all but essential businesses to close, as well as all other civic, academic, and cultural activities, our community was impacted like never before. Every industry was affected. The city took immediate action. I called on the business community to help find ideas and solutions through a business advisory task force. It was comprised of 20 business people and business organizations. I want to thank those individuals for their weekly participation for the 3 months that we met. Those initial solutions were the foundation to our clawing back. Several of those solution-oriented recommendations led to the council authorization to close Lower State Street to cars and replace it with a vibrant pedestrian promenade and outdoor dining. That effort not only supported businesses to reopen outdoors, but created a new public space in the center of downtown to interact with our neighbors and enjoy our new village center. With the council's adoption of the Emergency Economic Recovery Ordinance, the city suspended the rules and regulations to allow restaurants throughout the city to operate outdoors and establish parklets. This critical pivot allowed our businesses to reopen and recover at a faster pace. I'm also proud of city staff who responded so quickly to the pandemic to ensure city services continued through alternative approaches. For example, our Parks and Recreation Department provided a range of outdoor social service and recreation programs, including emergency food distribution in 4 locations, summer camp for 2,700 children, access to tennis and pickleball, lap swimming at Los Baños, and outdoor fitness options in more than 30 locations. The Council's posture will remain legislatively vigilant. We are focused on preparing for the long road to full recovery and new investment by initiating efforts to reduce red tape and streamline land development permitting in the city. As a nation, here locally, we were shocked and saddened over the death of Mr. George Floyd in Minneapolis. His death sparked a national awakening of the Black Lives Matter movement and the need for racial justice. I want to acknowledge and thank the individuals and organizations in our community, especially Healing Justice Santa Barbara, for connecting with and partnering with the city as we address systemic racism and social inequity. The city is listening and responding, and we are committed to police operations that are responsive to our community and free of brutality and misconduct. Additionally, the city is following through with its commitment to create a community formation commission to evaluate models of civilian review of police and make recommendations to the council. We can, as a community, address both racial and social inequality and support our police department and sworn officers. We have one of the finest police chiefs in the state, Lori Luno, and dedicated and professional men and women in the department who are committed to serving our residents with transparency and community engagement. I also want to acknowledge the council's recent action to rename Indio Muerto Street to Hutash Street. This change will remove a hurtful public street name from our city, and we appreciate the support from the Chumash community in this effort. Homelessness has been a constant challenge in Santa Barbara. The pandemic has only exacerbated the issue by limiting the city's ability to clear encampments per public health orders. Nonetheless, the city is focused on making an impact with multiple new initiatives to address this long-standing problem. A wide range of solutions are required to address the varying needs of individuals experiencing homelessness. This past April, city leaders instituted an initiative called SB Connect Home, which brought in a new homeless services organization called CityNet and established a new partnership with Cottage Hospital, our police department, the Housing Authority, and PATH. The goal is to collaboratively assess and identify the various needs of this population to focus services to make an impact. We thank the Santa Barbara Foundation, again, for their partnership and financial support to move this endeavor forward. Additionally, the city is also making efforts to prevent vulnerable residents from falling into homelessness. The city received federal funding to address the pandemic through the Community Development Block Grant Program. Funds were provided to offer 3 months of rental assistance to at-risk households. Concurrently, the city helped establish a new food network known as the Community Food Collaborative that brought many homeless service providers and local restaurants together for a win-win fundraising plan with the Julia Childs Foundation that fed homeless individuals and helped our local businesses. To respond to the housing crisis and opportunity to support downtown revitalization, the city's Average Unit Size Density Incentive Program, or AUD, has greatly incentivized new rental housing in areas close to transit, jobs, and commercial services. That program has produced 436 new housing units in the last 7 years, with another 302 units approved that could be constructed in the near future. This level of housing production hasn't occurred since the 1970s. The most recent updates to the program have addressed the downtown as an area of great opportunity. There are already 2 downtown housing projects in the pipeline. We are currently updating our accessory dwelling unit ordinance to align it with new state laws. Since 2017, the city has permitted 350 accessory dwelling units, and applications continue to come in at a steady pace. This indicates that accessory units, also known as granny flats, are still in demand and also help fill a great need in our community. We remain steadfast and committed to investing in all of the city's critical infrastructure, parks, and facilities so that they are maintained in prime condition and serve future generations. These capital investments guarantee safe and continuous operations that support long-term community prosperity. This past year, the city completed 27 capital projects with a total value of $115 million, in which new water mains were installed, accessible sidewalks and crosswalks were built, and bridges and roads were repaired and replaced throughout the city. In addition, the city has 18 capital projects in construction and 30 projects under design. These investments will improve residents' enjoyment, access and connections to the waterfront and our downtown. The jewel of East Beach, the Cabrillo Pavilion, has been renovated and is prepared to welcome more than 200 patrons for dining, fitness classes, weddings, and other special events. The council approved a bike share program that will provide 500 short-term rental electric assisted bikes throughout the waterfront and downtown in early 2021. In addition, the city will make significant upgrades to the State Street underpass to improve the pedestrian experience with lighting and public art, as well as improve the bike lane in both directions. We'll do that in 2022. These types of investments in the community are some of the reasons the city was nationally ranked as the 3rd most bike-friendly city in America. Upcoming initiatives include park and facility renovation projects, such as renovation of Bonet Park on the city's west side with stormwater treatment, new turf and picnic areas, renovated restroom, and accessibility upgrades. Also, public access enhancements to the historic Thousand Steps beach access in Santa Barbara's Mesa neighborhood, and renovation of the Louise Lowry Davis Center in Spencer Adams Park. The need for well-maintained public spaces is as important as ever, while there are new limitations to indoor activities. With the city's allocation of $1.6 million in the budget for the renovation of Library Plaza, the Santa Barbara Public Library Foundation is kicking off a capital campaign to create a safe and accessible space that can be used for library programming, community events and festivals, and serve as an anchor for the downtown arts and culture corridor. The Library Plaza will act as a central hub for the city's arts district, and its revitalization coincides with the new vision for State Street and downtown Santa Barbara. As always, the library continues its excellent work, engaging, educating, and enhancing our community. In addition to its robust literacy programs, including visits to preschools, the library joined 5 other California libraries in a pilot project focused on early literacy that engages friends, family, and neighbor caregivers. The extended story time incorporates playtime, snacks, and opportunities for other community service organizations to support the caregivers. The program launched at the Eastside Library in February 2019. Eventually, the library expanded to a site at Harding Elementary, where they also offered a weekly English conversation group. In January 2020, the library was awarded a $250,000 state library grant to expand the program. Because of the pandemic, the program was adapted to stay and play in local parks. The library has always recognized the importance of providing programming and services in Spanish. Over the last several years, the library has focused on filling vacant positions with Spanish speakers, and in 2019 formed a 6-member outreach team to connect with Santa Barbara's Spanish-speaking community. The library launched a regular Spanish story time and doubled the number of bilingual story times, greatly increasing the number of Spanish-speaking families who regularly use the Eastside Library. The library has also offered classes on critical topics such as disaster preparedness and financial literacy, all in Spanish. In collaboration with the Santa Barbara Unified School District, the library has activated more than 11,000 Student Success Library cards for students to check out items from the library's hundreds of thousands of physical materials and access millions of digital materials and resources. Library staff also develop programs that complement school curriculum and after-school activities, demonstrating our city's commitment to public education. We are equally committed to environmental stewardship and sustainability. Council just recently adopted an aspirational goal of becoming carbon neutral by 2035. We are already working on a number of initiatives that will help move the city towards achieving this goal, including community choice energy. The city is currently implementing its community choice energy organization, Santa Barbara Clean Energy, also known as SBCE. Launching in late 2021, SBCE will procure 100% renewable electricity for the entire community of Santa Barbara. This is a significant step toward decarbonizing the city's electric grid. 2020 has tested each of us. The pandemic and the resulting economic impacts are still playing out, and we will take some time to fully recover. The urgent struggle to address racial justice and social inequities has refocused the national and local conversation. Santa Barbara remains resilient and strong. Your council and dedicated city workforce are committed to serving the residents and the businesses of the South Coast. Together, we will persevere through the challenges ahead. Thank you so much for joining me today for the State of the City. And now I'd like to introduce our City Administrator, Paul Casey. Paul, thank you for your dedicated and professionalism. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you to the Chamber of the South Coast of Santa Barbara for hosting this event and making it work during these times. It's exciting to see a new chamber representing all of the South Coast. We are one region, and so we're all pulling together. And so look forward to working with you all and to the leadership team of the chamber as we try to make Santa Barbara as good a place for business as we can. Also, thank you to City College for letting us tape this event here on the West Campus. What a beautiful spot. It's not the Libero Theater, but we have the benefit of being here on the West Campus. It's just one of those great places within Santa Barbara to experience. So good morning. So not in recent history has the city, state, or nation experienced the level of economic upheaval that we have and are still experiencing. As businesses are impacted, so is the city. The city's operating funds are directly linked to businesses' success and economic activity in the community. The pandemic's impact to our local economy has been severe. Commencing on March 19th and lasting over 2 months, we were only allowed to operate essential businesses within the community. Not until the end of May did the public health restrictions begin to ease, and that allowed some limited business activities to occur outdoors. As you struggle, we struggle, because 2 of our key revenues are sales tax and bed tax that rely specifically on your success. Establishing a budget in the middle of the onset of the pandemic was one of the most challenging budget processes I've experienced in 30 years. The need to have a plan to address the substantial losses of revenue in the city's operating budget with an unknown and unprecedented outlook while still providing critical services to the community was very hard. The city, like so many businesses and organizations, was forced to take dramatic and immediate actions to address the fiscal impacts to the city's operating budget. The city had to respond to the closure of public serving operations and the loss of revenue. We had to unfortunately lay off approximately 400 part-time or hourly employees. These were seasonal or hourly staff that supported after-school activities, summer camps, parking kiosks, and other similar activities that were fully shut down, and so we had no work to offer. As those services are coming back, we are rehiring those staff. A citywide hiring chill went into effect. Some capital projects were put on hold, and departments began to cut their budgets. These immediate and decisive actions saved the city's general fund millions of dollars and have put us on a structural path to weather through these tough times. Additionally, though, the city had to remain operational during the shutdown. City functions that did not previously have an online presence transitioned quickly, like holding public meetings of the City Council, Planning Commission, or any of the 40 boards and commissions that we support. Libraries were required to be closed, but still served the public with curbside pickup and robust online offerings. Building plans can now be submitted electronically. Police and fire personnel put in stringent safety protocols to protect their safety to make sure of their availability to serve the community. Water and wastewater staff kept those critical functions operating throughout. As mentioned by the mayor, park staff have worked nonstop to keep our public parks and open spaces open to the public and as a place of safe refuge during these times. I could go on and on. I would just like to say I'm extremely proud of the dedicated staff who found innovative and creative means to keep the city operating. So in late June, with fiscal year 2021 adopted budget, a reduction plan was developed for all departments in order to address the anticipated reduction of revenue. A four-prong approach was used: service reductions at the department level, deferral of certain capital expenses, labor concessions, and use of city reserves. I want to thank all of the bargaining units for working with us to get meaningful labor concessions that contributed millions of dollars to the balancing of our budget. The initial estimates of losses citywide across all funds was $26.5 million in fiscal year 2020, an additional $24 million for fiscal year 2021. Of this, the impact to the general fund was $14 million in fiscal year 2020, and it's estimated to be approximately $10 million in fiscal year 2021. $6.7 million in reserves were used to cover that initial deficit in fiscal year 2020, and we expect to use a much more modest amount of reserves to see us through the fiscal year 2021. What is unique about this budget event, considered to others, is that every category of city revenues have been impacted and stressed, including all of our enterprise funds: airport, waterfront, parking, our water and wastewater funds. As I mentioned earlier, our two largest revenue sources impacted by the budget are sales tax and bed tax. We get sales tax information from the state 3 months after every quarter, and so we're still waiting for summer's results, which we will get next month. However, we do get monthly bed tax information, and for the month of August, we were down 33% from last year's results. A dramatic drop to be sure, but we are seeing steady growth month over month in our bed tax revenues, and so far it's right in line with our budgeted projections for this fiscal year. We have used a substantial amount of our budgeted reserves, but we still have our disaster funds fully and in place. We were fortunate to be in good financial condition entering the pandemic with our policy reserves close to fully funded and almost 25% of our operating budget. I want to recognize the mayor and the city council for their leadership and perseverance in addressing the impacts of the pandemic, both at an operational level and through continuing to engage the public through online video meeting platforms and addressing the economic impacts to our community. With regards to federal relief, the city has received very little federal assistance. The airport did receive relief funds, about $9.5 million, and the state has provided just over $1 million from State CARES Act funding that has covered some public safety expenses. And we did receive approximately $500,000 of community development block grant funds that were issued for human service purposes. But at this point, we're not expecting or planning for additional federal assistance. Discussions continue in the nation's capital. We'll see what happens, but we're not planning for it. But state and local governments are in definite need of federal assistance to get us through these times. As the mayor mentioned, with decisive actions, the city was able to support the limited reopening in late May for the summer season that so many businesses rely upon. The council's adoption of the Economic Recovery Ordinance supported the reopening of a number of businesses so they could operate outdoors. These temporary outdoor dining and business areas were a lifeline for those businesses. I want to thank all the staff who worked in those hectic 3 days to get State Street open. And thank you to the community for your support and enthusiastic response to that reopening. Your support of local businesses has been tremendous and is greatly appreciated by all. Finally, I again want to thank all the opportunity for the hardworking professionals throughout the city. We have over 1,000 full-time employees across 10 operating departments. I'd also just like to introduce and acknowledge some changes going on at the executive management level. Keith DeMartini is our new finance director. He's been on board for a couple weeks now. He comes to us from the city of San Bruno in the Bay Area and spent a good part of his career working for the city and county of San Francisco. We also recently brought in, it seems just like yesterday, Jason Harris in the new Economic Development Manager position. He literally started the day that we shut down the city's economic activity. I am so thankful that we are able to recruit Jason here from the city of Santa Monica. He has been a tremendous asset, and a number of you have already been engaging and working with him, so we're very pleased to have him on board. I am in the process of recruiting for a new community development director, with interviews scheduled for the month of December. Unfortunately, privacy laws prevent me from commenting on the rumor that Chamber Director Steve Epstein has applied for the position, and so you'll have to ask him yourself about that. Okay, see, that was a joke. Usually we'd have a little laughter in the crowd right now. This is kind of awkward. Steve, I'm just teasing you. I love you. I want to thank Brian Demore for serving as Acting Public Works Director, while Rebecca Bjork provides leadership for the Community Development Department as Acting Director for Community Development. Ms. Bjork is doing an outstanding job, and one of her focus, as the mayor mentioned, is to help initiate the improvement and changes to our land development process as recommended in the Novak report, and that we have a council subcommittee overseeing those implementation. Those are critical changes that need to happen to improve our land development process to benefit all of us in the community. I'm also recruiting for an assistant city administrator position, and just recently I will begin a process, or I'm going to start recruiting for a new fire chief position as well. There is no acting assistant city administrator during the recruitment, but for the fire department I have appointed Chris Males as the acting fire chief. So thank you, Chris, for stepping up and serving. Chris is a longtime employee of the fire department. He's been serving as a battalion chief for a number of years. So thank you again for joining us in this State of the City presentation. And at this point, I would like to turn it over to Jason Harris, our Economic Development Manager. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Madam Mayor, Mr. Casey, it's an honor to join you and contribute to the conversation on the state of the city. For those of you just now putting a name with a face, I'm Jason Harris, the city's new Economic Development Manager. When I accepted this position, I knew that I would need to revitalize downtown, establish an innovative economic development plan, and improve city processes to be more business-friendly. Who knew that just a few weeks later, we were going to face one of the greatest health and economic challenges of our time? The pandemic has tested our wills in more ways than one, but I've been awed by the sheer determination of Santa Barbara. In all my years in city government, I've never seen city staff and the business community come together so quickly to overcome such significant challenges. Let me give you some examples. While the pandemic took a significant bite out of our local economy, the city responded quickly and took dramatic, immediate action to help the business community reopen and recover from state-mandated business closures and restrictions. The council approved immediate relief in April to allow the city's lodging businesses to defer transit occupancy tax payments, bed tax. The council also suspended parking and business improvement area assessments for businesses in downtown. Moreover, they helped local workers by waiving monthly and commuter parking permit payments. These actions were meaningful and timely. However, we knew that these initial efforts were just the start to support local economic recovery. The mayor assembled a cross-section of business owners and organizations to identify creative solutions that the city could pursue to support businesses to reopen, for our local economy to recover. Our council unanimously supported the adoption of an emergency economic recovery ordinance that suspended citywide regulations allowing outdoor dining and outdoor business activities. Santa Barbara quickly became a statewide leader, as we were one of the earliest and most aggressive jurisdictions to support our businesses' ability to operate outdoors. The council authorized Mr. Casey to close State Street and to create the State Street Promenade to allow our residents to enjoy the downtown in a socially distanced manner. Concurrently, the city introduced the concepts of parklets, the small platform structures that extend the sidewalk and allow for outside dining on the street. These actions save countless businesses from closing and hundreds of jobs from being lost. This newly minted State Street Promenade has brought our community outside, downtown, and together in a socially distanced and safe environment. We are seeing families coming out to teach their children to ride a bike, neighbors crossing paths, and a vibrant outdoor dining scene operating well into the evening on a nightly basis. Retail business is benefiting from this new environment as well. In the coming weeks, you will see new enhancements to the State Street Promenade. Traffic devices and roadway enhancements will provide greater direction to cyclists and focus pedestrians to the sidewalks. Lighting will be strung down the street to brighten the winter nights. However, these are interim steps. The city has initiated a visioning effort for the future of State Street. Shortly, the public will be asked to provide their input. We're excited about the possibilities for the future of downtown State Street and look forward to hearing from you. In reference to the future of downtown, I'd like to recognize and express the city's gratitude to the American Institutes of Architects, the Santa Barbara chapter, of course, who organized over 160 professionals over the last several months to develop conceptual designs for the future of downtown and State Street. They've made an immeasurable contribution to the civic discussion. Their creativity illustrates that the possibilities for downtown Santa Barbara are exciting and unique. We know that these initial efforts are just the beginning. New partnerships are needed. I'd like to take a few minutes to highlight some of these new collaborations. The Santa Barbara Foundation is well known for supporting nonprofits and social service agencies. However, due to the severity of the impact to our local economy, they have stepped forward to support the business community. I'd like to thank the foundation for their financial support and partnering with the city to provide small business grant program through the Santa Barbara Better Together Committee Advised Fund to provide $150,000 to small businesses in the community. This year, the city entered into a new partnership with the Santa Barbara South Coast Chamber of Commerce to facilitate downtown business recruitment and property owner engagement. Additionally, the city has coordinated with the Santa Barbara Hispanic Chamber of Commerce to hold Spanish language business assistance workshop and Spanish language media outreach on business reopening guidelines. The Downtown Santa Barbara organization, representing 1,200 businesses, organized and distributed free protective personnel equipment to businesses in coordination with the South Coast Chamber and is initiating a downtown market on State Street every Thursday evening beginning in November. Similarly, Visit Santa Barbara has thoughtfully navigated and provided the direction and support to our lodging and hospitality businesses to safely reopen and salvage the summer season. Their hard work and focus of Visit Santa Barbara and our lodging businesses have established a safe environment for both visitors and their workforce. Santa Barbara's tourism numbers have outperformed our peers due to their efforts. Santa Barbara businesses are also fortunate to have 3 amazing business assistance organizations that all offer free consultant services: the Economic Development Collaborative, Women's Economic Ventures, and Santa Barbara SCORE. If you do not know them, please look them up and reach out. All 3 of these organizations have initiated a number of new business assistance programs and have increased their outreach assistance and business services during this difficult time. I thank them for their service to this community and steadfast partnership. The Council is committed to supporting businesses in the creation of new housing through oversight and implementation of modifications to the city's land development and permitting processes. We know that the status quo is not acceptable. The city is committed to making improvements to our systems to facilitate investment in our community. Lastly, I'd like to thank again all of the business organizations for their partnership and for their leadership and for the leadership of the mayor and the city council. I'd also like to thank Mr. Casey for his confidence in me and bringing me on board, and to my colleagues for their hard work, support, and dedication. Together we will prevail, and we will be stronger and better than before. Thank you.
Thank you all for joining us today. I want to thank our speakers, Mayor Murillo, Paul Casey, and Jason Harris for joining us as well. Thank you to Montecito Bank and Trust for being our presenting sponsor, Santa Barbara City College for hosting us in this great location, and Lure Digital for their support with this production. Thank you to our members for tuning in. We look forward to connecting with you soon.